Oh yeah. That's all I'm going to give you. That's it. That is it. That's a teaser. That is, again, a song called A Dangerous Place, one of the songs that's going to be on the ER album. Coming across great. Loving the drumming work that Mike Mangini did on that song. And it's been great working with Mike, by the way. You know, Mike is definitely the consummate musician. What I love about working with Mike Mangini and having him on this album is the fact that he knows and cares about the music, and he knows when to play, what not to play. Now, I'm very specific when it comes to creating and writing music, as I'm going to be going over in more detail about my songwriting process in this episode. But what's great is that, you know, I'll tell Mike, okay, this is what I want, you know, on these 4 bars, do this and do that and have this and play that and whatever. So, which is great to work with a professional musician, a session guy who knows his job and does a great job of taking direction. But what I really enjoy about working with Mike is that, you know, he has ideas too, and he's the drummer, right? I'm not a drummer. He is. He's the professional. And he also shares ideas and suggestions of certain things that he feels, you know, maybe listen to this. I'm going to, you know, let it absorb. I played it this way, but this is the reason why I did it. And I appreciate that, because it's one thing for, you know, somebody, and I hear this in bands all the time, you know, that someone will say, I don't like that or change that, but they have no reasoning behind it. I love working with Mike Mangini because he gives you a reason why. This is why I play it this way, or this is my suggestion because. And that's great to have that collaboration when you're working with professional musicians. So just wanted to give some accolades to Mike. And you know, we're halfway through the album, man. This is great. Really, really great. You know, and there are songs, like there are ballads, there are emotional songs, of course, as this is ER, emotional release. That's what ER stands for. So it's great that he knows what to do and how to play it. And that's why I love working with top musicians like Mike. So again, just awesome. I'm going to dive into the songwriting process. We'll talk about A Dangerous Place, actually. I'll use that as an example. But I do get asked, what do you do? How do you write? Do you write music first, or do you have a melody line, or are you writing lyrics? How do you do it? And I gave that a lot of thought, and I would say that the high percentage of how I write music is music first. It is music first. Whether it's a chord progression, sometimes I have a melody, sometimes it's just a riff. For example, A Dangerous Place, which you just heard that clip of. That riff is what played through my head first, and from that, I was able to construct the song and take it down the direction that I wanted to take it, because that is going to be the second song on the album. The first song is a short instrumental that sets the tone for the album, okay? You'll hear it when I release the album next year. But yeah, so that song, A Dangerous Place, then follows, and I needed that aggression. And of course, Mike did a great job, and he did exactly what I needed for that song. So we'll go over to the songwriting process for that. But yeah, again, it's usually music first. And thinking about when I was writing songs that are on the Resurrection of Black album, it was music first for that. A lot of that was music first. Now, I may have had an idea, a concept of the topic that I wanted to write, but yeah, it was music first. And for songwriters, if you're a songwriter, you're a musician. First of all, if you're a musician, hone your craft, right? If you're a guitar player, keyboard player, whatever you are, hone your craft, all right? And if you're a songwriter, hone your craft, okay? A couple of things that I want, reality check, all right? Reality check. If you're using Suno or one of those other AI-generated programs to create music and call it your own, you're not a musician, all right? Reality check. You're computer generating something, there's no creativity in that. There's no heart and soul from you in that. So you can't call yourself a musician. Sorry, reality check. Also, if you're one of those songwriter, musician, supposed musicians, I should say, where you just grab a bunch of loops and samples and all that, and you just piece them all together, and you say, "Hey, look, I wrote a song." No, you didn't. You have just pulled music and samples and loops and things from other people that created that and pieced them together. So you're not a musician, you're a computer programmer. Okay, reality check. All right. But if you want to really write songs, then go for it. Do it. All right. And you know what? I would say 99.9% of musicians, when you start out writing music, your songs are going to suck. They just are. It's a process. Same thing that it was with me. Man, the songs that I wrote, they sucked, and even when I was trying to write a serious song, it didn't really come out that way. And it takes a while for you to get into your groove, to really find your path of what type of songwriter you really are. An example for that process, I would say, would be Pink Floyd, right? If you listen to, the old Pink Floyd with Syd Barrett in the band, very psychedelic. And as their music changed and developed, and when Syd was out and David Gilmour was in, the music started to shy away from that super psychedelic sound. And I consider metal as like the turning point of when you really start to hear the Floyd sound, that we're all familiar with, especially with the song Echoes. And of course, the next album that came out was Dark Side of the Moon. There you go, right? Dark Side of the Moon was great. Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, all stop there. Final Cut, that's crap. Sorry, it just is. After Waters was out, A Momentary Lapse of Reason is a great album. Division Bell is a great album. So there you go. So there's a progression, and that's how it is as a songwriter. Same thing with me, same thing with 99.9% of the songwriters out there. You go through that process of developing your craft. Now, there are those anomalies, right? Those exceptions to the rule of musicians who were just fantastic, like right out of the gate. One I can think of right off the top of my head is Paul McCartney, right? He wrote I'll Follow the Sun, which is on a Beatles album. I think it was on the first Beatles album. But he wrote that song, I think when he was like 14, 15 years old, something like that. He was just a kid, but a great song. So he's just one of those people that is just a talented person. And they are an anomaly, right? They really are. But, the songwriting process is a process. I remember when I wrote my first song, and I thought it was serious, right? It was called The Lady Who Fell Out of a Car. And I was 13 years old, and I just started learning how to play guitar. And what had happened was at the grammar school, I was in 8th grade at the time, the grammar school that I was going to, there was a car accident that was just up the street, so we all walked up there to see, what had happened. Not a pretty sight. That's all I got to say about it. So I wrote a song about it. I called it The Lady Who Fell Out of a Car. And I thought, wow, this is such a great song. And I was really, really serious. And that was my first song. And it was awful. It was awful. Matter of fact, I dug it up. I found an old recording of the song. I'm going to play it for you. This is my first song that I ever wrote. Again, it's called The Lady Who Fell Out of a Car. And it's bad.
There once was a lady who fell out of a car, and she was dragged from near to far, and she
This was supposed to be serious.
really mangled up, and her head was smashed
Oh, geez.
to a pulp.
Oh man, that's just bad. That's awful. Anyway, that was my first song. I gotta take off these headphones, man. That was my first song. The Lady Who Fell Out of a Car. And it's funny because I was in eighth grade at the time. All the seventh and eighth graders, they knew about the song and they thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I mean, listen to that. So I wrote other songs, and actually, I wasn't serious. Like I wasn't writing real intense, serious songs. I mean, the lady who fell out of a car, I thought was, but after the reaction, I just started to write more goofy songs, and I call them my campfire tunes. But yeah, there you go. So maybe your first song is not going to be that great, and it probably won't be, but it takes a while for you to get into your groove. And that's what it is. So let's talk about the songwriting process. I'm going to share with you what my songwriting process is. Now, I did mention that usually it is music first, but the number one piece of advice that I can give you as a songwriter is have things available for you to jot down those ideas, because they come to you, in the most inopportune times, right? For example, shower tunes. I call them shower tunes. When you're taking a shower and you get this brilliant idea, and you're in the shower, right? You're in the shower. Oh man. So you're like hurrying up, get out of the shower, ready to jot it down. The idea's gone. It's gone. It's gone. I can't even tell you how many times that's happened. So I came up with a solution. Here it is. Put a waterproof pad, stick it on the shower wall, stick a pencil on the shower wall. So if you get any ideas, jot them down. And I have used this. I've used this quite often because I get ideas in the shower. I just do. So that's one suggestion. All right. The other suggestion is you got this, right? You got your little cell phone. Voice memos. Voice memos. All of these have ideas of songs that I'm doing for ER. I'll get an idea and I'll sit there and I'll record it. I may be outside, I may be somewhere else, but I'll get that idea and I don't want to lose that thought. Maybe it's a lyric line, maybe it's a guitar riff and I'll sing it in the phone. Maybe it's ideas for chord progression, whatever it is. Maybe it's just about ideas and concepts of what I want the song to be about. As a songwriter, you got to jot all this stuff down so you don't forget it. So voice memos, man, that's the greatest thing. And of course, having a notebook or something that's handy, write it down, man. You got to keep track of that. All right, you got to keep track of those things. So just to give you an example, let's go over the process for ER. Now, I started writing songs for ER, or at least getting the concepts and the ideas, back in 2017. As a matter of fact, A Dangerous Place, that clip I played you at the beginning of this episode, I started writing that in 2017. And then, time went by, and then I started working on it again in 2023. And then, in this year, it's just, so it took some time. But for the ER album, started in 2017, but you know what? A lot of shit happened in 2023 for me personally. That was a pretty intense year. And I think that I needed to go through that experience of all the things that were going on in my life at that time, because a lot of the songs on ER relate back to all those experiences that I was having back in 2023. The death of my mom, the death of my dad, and all these other things that were going on. And through that process, from 2020 through 2023, 2024, man, just a lot of loss of friends, family, all that, man, it was pretty intense. So ER has become an album of those experiences. And so the first thing that I did was I jotted down the ideas for songs, and I came up with song titles. Okay, A Dangerous Place, obviously. Then there's on this list there's a song called Amends, Forbidden Fruit, Is There, Loss, Maniacal Disease, Meaningless, Self-Destruct, The Call, and then at the top I have 10 question mark. Actually, there's going to be 11 songs on the album total. 10 songs. Well, actually, 2 songs of those 11 are instrumentals. There's the opening instrumental, which is really short. Self-Destruct is an instrumental. That's a little intense tune. but the other ones, do have lyrics as well. But for ER, the process for that was, it wasn't just, coming up with music first. It was coming up with concepts of what I wanted the songs to be about, and which was a little bit different than my normal writing process. But that's what I did. I sketched it out. Now, for A Dangerous Place, I started just sketching down ideas for the song. On the bottom left is Dangerous Place with some ideas. When I started writing it, I was figuring out what the tempo would be. There's 3 time signatures going on that change. You go from 6/4 to 10/4 to 8/4 back to, or it's all over the place. And I started writing it in 2017, and then I worked on it again in 2023, and then in 2025. So there was a process of getting these ideas down. Now, those weren't the final lyrics or anything. It was more of just jotting down topics of what did I want to say? What is it, the message? What is the point of the song? So that was the first part. And then later on, I did some more work coming up with sections of the song that actually take up both of these pages. So it was starting to come together, and there were lyrics now that were being formulated. And then finally, on the left side is the actual final lyrics. It's kind of a mess in there, but for me it makes sense. And then on the right side was just writing out more notes of things that I wanted to do for the song. So that's how it came together. Musically, again, music was done first for the most part. Most of the music was done so that I can create the melody and then formulate the lyrics around it. And the other thing is, as a songwriter, let's say you want to do some kind of rhyming scheme. Maybe you have a line, and then you want to have the other line with a rhyming word, and maybe every other line. Sometimes doing a brain dump of rhyming words helps. And again, don't just utilize AI. Okay, use your brain. All right, use your brain, because you want to be a great songwriter. It all comes from up here, and it all comes from here. Or is it here? Ah, it's there. There's the heart. I had to find my own heart. Comes from the heart, comes from the brain. That's what great songwriters do. Okay, so hone your craft. But that's how, for example, A Dangerous Place came about. Some of the other songs that I have done that are completed were songs that I started off with a melody line on one, and just wasn't quite feeling right. And then I just kind of improv'd words, just making up words as the music was playing. And I hit on something, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. That's the melody line. And it worked. So trust your instincts, okay? And, there are formulas, obviously, for songwriting. Now, I'm not a fan of Nashville songwriters, the Nashville Machine, because it seems they just take some stupid catchphrase and then create a song around it. I was sitting in a restaurant in Sedona, Arizona, and they're playing some country music, and I have to say, every song that came up sucked. It was bad. It was bad. And I was like, wow, I can't believe that this stuff is actually out there. Lyrics were just dumb. It was really dumb. And even the music wasn't even constructed all that great. But that's the Nashville Machine. Pump out that one-hit wonder, you get your 5, months of fame, and then they kick you out and get another artist. I don't believe in that. I believe in, and I wish the music industry was like it was before, where you take artists and you develop them and you create a catalog of music, so you get to see the progression. But all right, that's not how it is. But you know what? You be you. The point is, there are rules that you can follow, but sometimes it's too formulaic. I like breaking the rules. But I also want to make sure that the listener is enjoying the music, and that's important. So I'll do things, and again, I come from a very cinematic mindset. When I create my music, I want it to be very experiential. I want people to be able to visualize things in their mind as they hear the music, as I take them through a sonic journey. That's just my approach. And other people have other approaches. Some people are really great writing pop music. That's just not my thing, all right? Um, and here's the one thing that I really want to hit home to wrap things up in regards to the songwriting process, and that is do something that's meaningful to you, something that you are proud of, something where you can listen back and you're like, yeah, yeah, that sounds great. Where you can step outside of your box, all right, and look at what you created and not go, oh, gee, I did that. No, think of it as, oh, there's this artist who has this song. Like I can step back and look at myself as not, as Lane's Laire, not just listening to my music, but I'm listening to a Lane's Laire album. And how does it make me feel? All right. And if it's something that I'm proud of, then I know I did my job and that I'm willing to put it out there. But do it for you. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. When you're writing your music and you're going through the songwriting process, do it for you. All right? And if other people love it and it becomes this big hit, that's icing on the cake. But if you can sit down and you can put on headphones and you can listen to your song or listen to your album and you're like, yeah, I really enjoyed the journey that music took me through. That's what's important, okay? When I started off as in the music world as a kid, wanted to be a rock star. That's all it was about. Fame and fortune and money and living the rock and roll lifestyle and all that stuff. But you know what? As you get older and you mature and you realize, you know what? It's about making what I do, being proud, creating music that I'm proud of. I'm doing it for me. And if other people like it, then that's icing on the cake. And that's kind of the approach you want to look at it. Because again, it's not just about the fame and fortune. It's great. Yeah. When you hit that pinnacle, if you're able to do it and you're successful, that's awesome. But do it for you and be proud of what you do. All right. That's part of the songwriting process, and that's an important part. All right. And that's how I write music. There you go. That's my songwriting process. Before we go, obviously, I'm going to leave you with your assignment. And that is, when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make all the difference in the world. Be a life changer. We need more positivity in this world. And you can spread it. So do it. All right. Thanks for tuning in. As always, click subscribe, hit that notification bell, spread the word. Let's get more people subscribed here to the Lane's Laire YouTube channel. I want to take you on my musical journey. I'm glad you're here with me. I love sharing the history of my old music and the music I'm creating now. It's a lot of fun, and I do appreciate you. So subscribe, man. Spread the word. All right, you guys have a great week. We'll be talking to you soon.